Hey guys, wanted to test this tech, and I wanted to do a video on the Y1 player. So this is the box that it comes in, and essentially it kind of mimics the nostalgia of the iPod. In particular, this is kind of like iPod Nano territory, but not as this is a little bigger, I think, than an iPod Nano. But yeah, but there's a lot that it resembles within that, obviously. The company that works on this, it looks like their name is Anoakis. You're not going to be able to see that from this, but I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But here's been my experience with it that I wanted to share, right? So when you turn it on, you have your standard setup here that obviously looks a lot like the iPods back in the day. So you have the now playing music, videos, audiobooks, and you put audiobook files on here, photos, videos, as I've said, FM radio. So you have access to the FM radio. You do have to plug in earbuds or, plug in headphones, I believe, too, because it uses that as an antenna to get a radio frequency. And then you have Bluetooth, which is nice. So you can use Bluetooth headphones on these. You don't have to be stuck to wired headphones. You got your settings here. And then as far as for the navigation component, you do have the touch scroll wheel. The iPhone scroll wheel, or the iPod scroll wheel is better than this, right? But it does the job. It does the job. It might, I think it's trying to give you more nostalgia than actual ergonomic functionality. So, but it works. So whatever, it's fine. Battery life is pretty decent on this. I had a 10-hour Rain MP3 that I got from YouTube, and I was using that to help me go to sleep throughout the night. And it was at about 7 hours, and the battery life was at 70%. So I mean, losing 10% each hour isn't bad. Isn't actually, no, that doesn't make any sense, Jarrell. 70%, 7 hours of battery life. That's not bad. So, yeah, the battery life is good. The audio sounds pretty good as well. As far as for the functionality, you got a speaker. So this does have a physical speaker on here that it can play through, but you can also Bluetooth this to a speaker or your car or something like that, which is nice. And it has the Type-C port there for charging and for transferring music onto it. Okay. I was saying that the music sounds pretty good on it. You could put MP3s on here. I think FLAC files, WAV files, of course. I tend to do the MP3s pretty much just to save up the storage. Obviously MP3s compress files, but you can put more music on your device, right? So that's pretty cool there. The biggest issue with this, I would say, is actually transferring music to this. In 2025, where everybody uses smartphones to listen to their music anyway. And if you want to dive into this, obviously for nostalgic reasons, the drawback is going to be putting music onto this. Obviously you're not going to use iTunes on this. It's going to be like a flash drive. When you plug it into your computer, you drag your files into the appropriate file, and that's how it works. I would have liked for them to have access to the SD card or whatever the memory is on the side or on the bottom or something, just so you can connect it, say, to your smartphone and have that be your computer to transfer files onto it, and then I can plug it back into this. To me, that's the biggest drawback on this, is that I literally have to look around for a computer, from not at my desktop computer to transfer files onto it. And I think that's a really big miss. Sometimes it recognizes it on my Android phone, but sometimes it does not. I tried it on my iPad. That works, but then I have to have things set up for my iPad in order to transfer music onto it. So I think, to me, that's the biggest drawback. And then also, it would have been nice to have some type of for there to be Wi-Fi connectivity on this, because if there's Wi-Fi connectivity on this, they could have had an option to transfer music wirelessly via Wi-Fi to this. So that would have been really nice where you don't have to plug into a computer. You can just transfer those files over to this. So I think that should be the next iteration for this. I feel like if they did that, then this would be more attractive as far as, especially because you don't have to use your phone's battery for music. And, if you have music that you can drag onto this is a neat option, and this is going to give you a lot of battery life. You get a lot of battery life out of this, I should say. So that would be my pretty much my 2 cents here, is that this is a decent device. It's only $50, on Amazon, but from a ergonomic perspective, or logistical perspective, realistic perspective, having access to the SD card would have been nice. But I think if you're going to have Bluetooth, give Wi-Fi for transferring music over to it, and then you can just turn off the Wi-Fi right after, because you really don't need it after that. Obviously it could dig into the weeds where you have devices that are just literally like iPod touches. Essentially, you can access Spotify and all those things, but it kind of defeats the purpose of this, right? So if they had a Wi-Fi option merely for transferring files onto this, I think that would have been really cool. Or the Bluetooth being able to transfer music onto it, because obviously Bluetooth, you can do that as well. So a wireless file transferring option would have been cool for this. So, but yeah, $50. It's the one player music player. Check it out. See what you think. But again, test this deck. I'll catch you guys next video. Thanks a lot.